Kristian Whitsett with Jones Whitsett Architects, and this is a perspective view of the Chestnut Street Middle School, looking from the library park near the Holyoke Public Library, and you can just see a little glimpse of the existing school on the left-hand side of the image here. We really worked hard to come up with a massing and set of materials that both respects the history in Holyoke, architectural history, as well as stand up as a new and outstanding middle school. The site plan takes up the entire city block of Chestnut Street, Hampshire Street, Elm Street, and Cabot Street, again, just to the north of the existing school. And we have a formal entry on the southeast corner, again, kitty corner from the library park, with a courtyard opening to the south with direct access off of the cafeteria. We have a student entry at this point for at the beginning and the end of the school day, and then once school is in session, it's envisioned that all visitors would use that main entry that's close to the administration, right at the corner of Cabot and Chestnut Streets. We worked hard with our landscape architects at Berkshire Design Group to really make the most out of this rather compact site. So you can see an open courtyard off of the cafeteria, and then further to the west, some new play fields, a small soccer field, working with the topography as the site rises up to the corner of Hampshire and Elm Street. Our landscape architects worked with us very closely in terms of bringing education to every aspect of this project. So when we think about students interacting with the interior and the exterior of this building, trying to make each moment a possibility for learning. Our goal is that learning will happen everywhere within the building and on the site. So hexagonal pavers, for instance, can be used as a study looking at molecules and chemistry. The patterns on the paving can be tied to the stars and the solar system. We have a sloped retaining wall that's needed on the site, and so we're doing three things with that retaining wall. It's retaining dirt. It can also act as a play element, as a climbing wall, and then the intention is also to introduce some graphics along that wall so that students can think about climbing across the geological cuts through the city of Holyoke, so get an understanding of the various soil types found within the city of Holyoke. So we used a lot of these concepts as we developed that site plan to try and introduce learning at every possible location. For the floor plan, we wanted to emphasize the community aspect at the first floor level. So we have the administration located right close to the front door, and then the portions of the school that we hope the community will interact with on a daily basis. So the library, the cafeteria, the stage. The stage has a band room right on the other side of it, and then the gymnasium, all on the first floor, so that this can become a public institution that the broader community uses as well. We very purposely put a technology classroom on the first floor. Right here on the floor plans, it's labeled DC, and that is to really show off what the students are doing and make sure that their success is celebrated within the city. On the floors above, we've divided the classrooms into these neighborhoods, as Dorrie mentioned. So on the second floor, we have two separate neighborhoods of sixth grade classrooms, each with 3 classrooms and a science classroom. On the third floor, the 7th grade, and on the 4th floor, the 8th grade. We have special education classrooms sprinkled throughout the school, so as not to isolate them in just one wing of the school. And then we also have sprinkled the specialty classes, like art is up on the 4th floor with a wonderful view of the city. And some of the administration offices are also split between the different floor levels, trying to get teachers and administrators interacting with the students so that at that neighborhood community level. At the Peck Middle School, or the proposed new school at the Peck site, we used a lot of the same materials and the same approach to the floor plan, but it's a very different site. So this is a much more suburban in feel. There's also quite a different topography at the Peck Middle School, but we're able to utilize the same basic footprint and the same elements found at the Chestnut Street site so that there's equity between the two schools. In terms of the site plan for the Peck School, this is an aerial view of the existing Peck School, and you can see that the school really takes up the entire site, and there's not much of a buffer between the neighborhood to the east and the school. So there's no sense of arrival. There's a very long, narrow parking lot, and then the entrance is kind of tucked up between two of the joints between the octagon and the gym. As opposed to the existing layout, the new school really flips that L around so that there's this generous opening, a visitor entry, a courtyard once again off of the cafeteria, and provides a sense of entry and a bit of separation between the school and the surrounding neighborhood. So you can see here in purple with that fine line is the outline of the existing Peck School, and then our proposed roof plan and site plan below that. We've separated the bus drop-off and the car drop-off, so really keeping an eye towards safety and security for this site and making sure that access is much better than it is today. And so the buses will actually come up from the high school, and then the car drop-off is to the south. Another area that we really wanted to concentrate with the site plan is the connection between the middle school and the high school below. So that connection is much more formalized than it is today. Site lighting is included, quite a bit safer and more secure than the more informal arrangement that there is today. We also wanted to dedicate some time to really look at the school and its relationship with the dingle, or the wooded area to the north of the school. Right now the Peck School kind of turns its back on the dingle, and so there's not much interaction between the two. And we hope that the school can start taking advantage of that resource. So we have a deck on the north side of the school overlooking the dingle and some more formalized site elements to really try and help formalize, clean up, and make that area much safer. The floor plans for the new middle school at the Peck site are very similar to the Chestnut Street floor plans. Again, a lot of community uses on the first floor with administration and library, technology, band, stage, and cafeteria. Because of the site topography, we have the gym actually connected to the building up on the second floor. We also tried to really emphasize some connections between the gym and Crozier Field and the school in general, so that that becomes more of a resource for that school and not something that feels very separate from the school campus. So again, we have the two classroom neighborhoods for the 6th grade up on the 2nd floor, and then 7th grade on the 3rd floor, and 8th grade up on the 4th floor, again with that art classroom up at the corner of the 4th floor. In terms of the educational design goals, this was something that we took into account throughout the design process. We really tried to customize this school design for the city of Holyoke and for the needs of the district. So we thought a lot about hands-on learning, a lot about learning happening everywhere, not only within the classroom, but within some of those breakout spaces outside of the classroom, with that technology classroom on the 1st floor, new opportunities for art, music, and STEM with adequately sized classrooms, with good finishes and storage for all grade levels to use. Support for students and teachers near the classroom, so having a teacher planning area within that classroom neighborhood so that teachers get to know one another and can plan creatively and cohesively, and the students really get a sense of their smaller community within those four grade classrooms. Sustainability was another focus during the design process, and there were some unique opportunities within Holyoke. The school is going to be powered by electricity, so all mini splits and heat pumps for the heating and cooling of the school. We're looking at a fully air-conditioned building. So a huge reduction in fossil fuel use by being able to tap into Holyoke's very sustainably generated electricity in terms of solar power and hydro. We're really taking advantage of that resource. We're proposing a cross-laminated timber decking, and there's an image of that here on this slide. So using a wood decking as the floor diaphragm between floors, and then steel for the structure of the building. This really relates within Holyoke's history in terms of the warehouse buildings. There the walls are masonry and the floors are wood, but this is a series of layers of wood stacked together, so it's a very strong, long-lasting material that also has the added benefit of carbon sequestration and a great reduction in greenhouse gas emissions compared to producing steel or concrete. A big focus has been on the on-site stormwater retention, which has been an issue in Holyoke, so we're making sure to treat as much stormwater on both of these sites as possible. And then we're exceeding mass stretch code by more than 20%. Again, thinking about the long-term viability of these schools, trying to reduce costs for the city of Holyoke, and thinking about what we can invest now for short dollars for a long-term impact. And then just thinking about designing for well-being for the students and staff that are in this building. They spend more hours in this building than they do in their own homes. And so thinking about healthy materials that do not off-gas, good daylighting, lots of natural views, being able to see outside of the building, all critical in terms of well-being in the building, student performance, all of those things improve. I'm now going to turn it over to Margaret to talk a little bit about the costs and the funding mechanisms.